Guys, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cornercade Chill and Chat Let's Go show on a Wednesday night, guys. I think we're going to kind of be kicking it off on a Wednesday night. Work has flipped my schedule now. Used to have Tuesday, Wednesday off. Now we got Wednesday, Thursday off. So good stuff, guys. We have a slew of topics to talk about tonight. I want to hit on this John D. AMA, Ask Me Anything, Facebook chat group. Kind of get some true serum out of that, guys. I want to talk about the inner workings of Arcade1up. ThinkUp designs their cabs. Now they're not. They do their own. All this stuff coming from just like a super fan from me, kind of seeing the inner workings behind everything that's going on in Arcade1up. And does Arcade1up want to stay true to like authentic cabs? Or do they want to go in a different direction with this new just branding with other companies, collaboration cabs? I mean, ever since Cyrus took over, it looks like that's the direction. We've seen 3-4 now cabs in that direction. So could that be the future of Arcade1up? I don't know. But guys, before I bring you into the building, I got two people joining me tonight. They've been to the Cornercade before. So give it up, guys, for Bill's Retro Gaming Show. What's going on, Bill?
Hello. Danny, why are you lying to all these people? You know we're going to be talking about show.
Sorry. No, we're not lying here. We're not lying here. Go ahead. I was going to cut him off. I'm just messing.
I thought you were going to cut me off there. Oh, come on. We're going to be talking shuffle golf the whole show.
Oh my God, that's a whole slew of things. Well, here, hold on your seat, guys. Shuffle Golf is here. It's live. It's now. But someone else is also live and there now, and it's James Hates Everything. Welcome to the Cornercade, man. Let's go! Absolutely love it, guys. Absolutely love it. Here, I'll switch you around here. There we go. I'll be in the upper left. Since I'm hosting this show, James, how you doing?
Great. How about yourself?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I mean, that put a huge smile on my face. I don't know if you guys know the guys in the back alley, 7-Eleven, but there's a guy named Gibby Gibbertson, and he actually made a Let's Go song with my voice in it. Dude, and then the sounder there just got me going with a big smile on my face, so I appreciate it, guys. Before we get started, I want to say hi to everybody in the building here. We got Mike Hawkers doing a little Let's Go emojis. We got Dark Realm Gaming. Yes, guys, always try to give this video a thumbs up. Really helps support the channel. We got Pimpstar2 in the house, Rich Rodello, Mr. Jameson, Jason Little Alien, our moderator. We got Chris C in the house, Julio Hernandez, Kevin Clausen. Yes, everybody's going live Wednesday. He's like, dude, there are like 6 streams going on. So if you guys got to catch us on the replay, I understand. At least you'll be there. We got Paul Mindeman is in the house. Best home arcade moderator on the planet, Jason, 100%.
Yep.
Bill saying hi. We got Addicted to Arcade1up. This is a new channel that Bill pointed out. Game Room Guru.
Yep.
One of the guys that hooked us up with 2 49-weight joysticks. So the NFL Blitz 2-player control panel mod was possible for us. So huge shout out to Addicted Arcade1up. Please go check out his channel if you haven't. I think he did a review on the Casino Kid. He also did an arcade room tour. We've showed it off on the show before.
Videos. Yep.
But he's changed some things now. So really cool guy. And I'm glad he's a member, not only of the show, but of the home arcade community as well. We got Johnny Blaze in the house saying good evening, everybody. C North, let's go. Paul Mindeman. Who else we got, guys? Brooklyn Menace is here. Let's go. Oh, I mean, right out of the gate. I mean, we did the let's go. You want to hit the let's go sounder?
Which
we
one?
got I don't know.
Let's go.
There we go. That's definitely let's go for this Kevin Clausen $2 super chat. Nice troll, Bill. LOL. Love it, Kevin. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. E Leo is in the house. What's up, everybody? And we got Retro Roofer. There's a couple new names, which is really cool. Nick's in the house. We got Stupid Fat Hobbit as always. Thank you, man, for stopping by. And that is everybody, guys. Let's go. So before we get started, we got a packed show, guys. Anybody sipping on anything cool? I got the traditional, just a traditional Coke today, so nothing fancy. What about you guys? Nothing? Water? Okay, there you go. Oh, you got the party glass. Okay, this is like a party now. Okay, I didn't know. See, I don't have the chaser. I just got the chaser part. I don't have the extra bonus fun stuff in mine. Okay, so where do we start, guys? I mean, I'm not surprisingly, I'm not part of this John D AMA thing. I don't have social media really. The only social media I have is YouTube, which there's what is it, Instagram, TikTok or something Arcade1up does put out some kind of cool little insight things that I'm like, oh, that's neat. Like we talked about pre-show with this was it Floyd Mayweather? He got like 2 calves, Mortal Kombat NBA Jam, kind of custom calves. So it is kind of cool to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, so inner workings, John D has an AMA, which apparently, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, it's on the official like Arcade1up Facebook group that they took from Glenn, or
Yeah,
where
that's
does this at?
exactly right. It's a
Yeah.
chat
Okay. Yeah.
from the official Arcade1up fan
Right.
page. Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like, hey, you can ask him anything down to what's his favorite drink to what happened at Arcade1up kind of thing. And I would
Yep.
assume that most of the majority of the questions are going to be 95% Arcade1up and home arcade related. I know you
Oh
guys
yeah.
both done content on that, but for like my viewers here, what exactly is going on in this chat? Is there anything that we've learned from this chat as far as like maybe some of the inner workings of Arcade1up, how they get titles, how something goes from a whiteboard all the way to the cornercade? I just kind of want to know your thoughts and share. This is guys, this is going to be more Bill and James hates everything here, kind of explaining to me, a super fan. I'm not even part of that. Never asked John a question, kind of thing. But I'll let you guys take it from here.
Yeah, I think it has been very interesting. John started this as a way, I think, to continue to interact with the fans. Even though he's no longer with Arcade1up, he's always been big on the community. So I think this was his way to just continue to be able to interact with people. Plus, I think he's got something in the works coming up, and he's looking to make sure that he's got his own little fan base when it comes out. So I think in another month or two, we're gonna hear from him whatever he's got cooking. But like as far as the AMA goes, yeah, people have been asking a ton of different questions, some of which he's answered amazingly, and some of which he's been very candid about saying, yeah, I can't answer that for you either, for whatever reason, either because he just legally can't or he doesn't know.
Yeah,
So.
and I think today even he gave a really, really strong hint that he's going to make an announcement about what he's going to do, and it's in the home arcade space. So,
what do you guys think that like would be? Because I know, but when he was there, Arcade1up came out with this thing that we all thought that was going to be like the MVSX, where they were going to have a cab, you could buy games on it. Then people were saying, hey, look, it might be like a controller that you connect to your TV, but you can buy cabs off, kind of like what At Games has with that little like hockey puck thing. Do you think it's going to be more towards like he kind of took that with him, that was like his thing, and maybe he'll do something there? Or do you think it could actually legit be like a 3/4 scale? Like, I mean, there's like a lot of logistics that involves with going like said route. What do you guys think?
well,
Go ahead,
for
James.
me, I question whether it's 3/4 scale because, right, if he's the licensing ninja, we're led to believe he's probably locked up those licenses for Arcade1up. And so, unless he's going after something they particularly don't have, I don't see him doing that. But there's a lot of avenue for him to release something in a different scale. Or like you said, what if he comes out with whoever he ends up with, they come out with some sort of multi-cade that he can, because he's talked in the past about having the downloadable content for not as common games like Sansan and things like that from
Right.
Capcom. All those would be good
Yep.
additions, I think.
Yeah. There was actually an interesting thing that came up. I think it was earlier today. It started out, somebody had asked him about if they'd ever lost a deal because of a leak. And he said it only happened once. And the speculation led to that actually being with SNK. But apparently they had actually made up about that. And there was something in the works, almost exactly like what you were talking about, Danny, like an SNK machine, maybe a Big Red. I know there was that Big Red XL on the leak, which I kind of tried to sneak in there and ask him about, and his answer was, what leak? So
Yeah.
I know he was, which I know he was trolling me a little bit on that, but that's okay.
Oh yeah.
But I do think that was something that they had planned, that they were going to make an MVSX style machine, maybe with a handful of games on it, but the ability to download more from SNK's library. And wouldn't that have been cool?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, if
100%.
Arcade1up's listening, it's a day one buy for me. I love the
Mhm.
Neo Geo. I'd load up.
Yeah, the cool thing, so I have a Neo. Do you guys have one or?
I don't have an
I don't have
MVSX. I
no.
used to have
Okay.
a legit Neo Geo AES.
Well, no,
Mm.
no one's gonna. I can't beat that. But
Yeah, I don't have it anymore.
yeah, no,
You
I
know,
can't. But
but
I have the Neo Geo. It's a great machine. It's really cool how they like added the those white buttons, so the potential of modding for the 6 player buttons there, for like fighting games and stuff. And it's got the high-low hack in it, and it's super cool. I absolutely love it. Even just the Neo Geo games itself, huge, incredible value. Even though they're mostly fighting games, still an awesome, awesome collection. The one thing I don't like, and I wish I never got to do a review on this, but the one thing I don't like is the form factor, because it was made like a bar top first, and then like,
Mhm.
hey, let's add it to a pedestal. Then like, oh, hey, let's add a riser to it, so we can kind of like bring it up to that 3/4 scale. The problem though with doing so is you cannot like sit down at it, and then the control panel's way too high. So I think in a
Yeah.
perfect world, if they were able to redo that in like, a different body style, I think it could go a very, very long way just with the collection of games itself. It's a really cool, interesting little cabinet, and just like the amount of games that could be on that thing is really cool. Paul Miniman says here, absolutely day one buy, no question. I had a 2-slot MVSX and an AES, and a Hyper 64, and she's a blah 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 blah. Bring it on! He's just falling in
Yeah.
love already. Um,
the other
but
thing
yeah,
is SNK, even before the Neo Geo, just owns a ton of great titles.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like just a huge library.
Mhm.
even like the golf game that's on there, I have fun playing. Like it's just like anything really. It was like, oh, this is cool. Like let me pick this up. Where me and my wife were playing Samurai Showdown. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like we've never played that before. Let's play this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Metal Slug. I was having fun playing that. Never really played it. Always heard of it, but never really played it. So there's a lot of
Baseball
like
Stars was my jam.
yeah.
That's
That's
a fun
cool.
one.
Yeah. So Baseball Stars 1 and 2. It's like
Yep.
baseball. That's
Little
fun, dude.
Windjammers. That was a
It
great one.
reminds me.
Windjammers is great.
Yes,
I
Windjammers
have
is
that.
awesome, 100%. Yeah, that's on the hack. We were playing that, it was fun. That reminds me of a game that I used to always play. It was Ken Griffey Jr.'s like Major League Baseball on Super Nintendo. I played the absolute, and pardon my French, shit out of that when I was a kid. I would put it. You could change all the names, so I'd put like Mark Grace in there because I always played as Cubs, of course. Sammy Sosa was in there. It was like they had like the character like Sosa batted third, and he was like this. It was like his stance, and it was like a Cuban guy. It was like, okay, that's literally Sammy Sosa. They just couldn't use his name.
Mhm.
So that was fun doing that. I play a whole season of that. Oh my god, I get like the theme song is like drilled into my head, but I get the same vibes out of that game, Baseball All Stars, that I do when I was playing a kid. So they're fun games. Like at the end of the day, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
that could really go good. I mean, like Paul
Yeah.
Miniman said in the chat, day one buy. I'm sure other
Yeah.
people would be on board with that 100%.
Yeah. But even to James' point, even going back further than that, you go, Frontline Akari Warriors, all those kind of
Oh yeah,
games
Heavy
would
Barrel.
be
We got just
amazing.
tons
Heavy
of
Barrel.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
In
So-
fact, I have the first Baseball Stars sitting over here on the NES. That
Oh
was,
shoot!
before
wow.
the Neo Geo days.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So what other kind of question? Like, has there been anything that has stood out to you guys that you guys were like, oh wow, I didn't know that. Like
Mhm.
that's interesting. That were maybe questions or answers or anything like that.
For me, like Bill may have seen me in there ask a couple questions over yesterday and today. Really, that it was interesting because somebody in there deleted the question, but John still answered it. But Michael B made a comment on his stream Monday that Arcade1up has to pay the difference when somebody does a sale, which I thought that was
Mhm.
kind of odd. I know that usually in retail, if they can't sell something, they may make the vendor take it back. But it's odd that they would have to subsidize the sale unless Arcade1up was saying, go do the sale, we'll, co-sponsor the sale, because manufacturers do that all the time too.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and somebody deleted it, but he still answered it, and he said, "Yep, they typically have to absorb that discount not all of it, but the majority of it, which I found really interesting because if you look back on cabs like Simpsons that Walmart blew out for like 99 bucks or,
Mm-hmm.
some of
Yeah.
these, like, man, that had to be a huge hit to
Yeah.
their revenue.
And I think it depends. I don't think it's every
Yeah.
machine. I think there are certain ones that they do those deals on, and from my understanding, it's an upfront deal. Like they'll go to Walmart or Best Buy or whatever and say, "We have this cab. If you order X amount, we'll guarantee you
Right.
this revenue."
That
And
makes a lot of sense.
that guarantee comes with, if you don't hit it, we make up the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and Walmart, of course, has the weight to negotiate that way because,
Mm-hmm.
your company's gold if you can get it in Walmart, right?
Yep.
You can.
Yep. They're the whole reason we have the peasant or classic
Yeah.
cabs, because Walmart likes to bang those things out at $300 because they know they can sell them all day long. Whereas the
Yeah, and my
5 and 6 and
understanding is
$700
Arcade1up wouldn't even exist if Walmart didn't do that because they do some like contest to have somebody design a 3/4 scale arcade, and Arcade1up did the Namco Pac-Man, and Walmart gave them the money to build it, and the rest is history.
See,
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
so
Yeah.
you talk peasant cabs and a great price point there. I get really excited when a cab is $3.99. I'm pretty much all in when it's $2.99. The one behind me, Bill, the Dynamo Street Fighter, when that was $3.99 at the job, I'm like, I'm ordering it just because of that. I already had like two other cabs that were like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I price matched it down to $2.99. Arcade1up has already made their money, from what I'm understanding, on the Street Fighter, like that PCB, so they can blow it out of the water pretty much, and they're still making pure profit at that point because they've already made what they need to make. So I'm hoping that other titles are kind of in that same fringe. Maybe like we see that in the future with Mortal Kombat. But the Dynamo cabinet behind me would be a perfect Walmart cab because you got it at $2.99. Boom. And it doesn't have to be some shortened peasant version that now we got to light up the marquee. I got to try to find a way to boost this up. I mean, a guy like G.I. Joel's probably loving it. Hey, I got a seamless riser for you. Here you go, kind of thing. But you don't have to put any more money into it. Like, that literally is the perfect cabinet for Walmart. And it's gorgeous. It has all the features. It's not lacking anything. So
Yeah.
we always want Arcade1up to do good with stuff because then you can get it at those price points. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe the X-Men 97, maybe the MVC2 wasn't as bad as we thought. I don't know. I don't have sales figures or numbers on that, but they were able to offer it at $100 cheaper than the current MVC, unless they were just trying to get greedy at first. Like, hey, everybody's going to want this title. Let's market to $5.99, just make some extra profit. I don't know.
Nope, it's not that. This is strictly the $4.99 price on that new X-Men 97 version is strictly a pre-order price. Once they're done with that pre-order, it goes up to $5.99, just like the other Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
So it seems like some advice.
Yeah.
It seems like some advice is being taken, because what did I say on this show? Like numerous of times, I've said a year roadmap. If you can't do a year, do a 6-month roadmap. So your customers know what's coming out. They know what to save for. They know what to sell. They know what to make room for. Period. End of story. And then on top of that, when a pre-order comes out, you give when something comes out and is ready for pre-order, give some incentive to pre-order. Make it a week long. You got 7 days to pre-order this thing, right? That way it may fall in a paycheck or something, whatever, and it's $100 off. And then I got a lot of kind of like, not really flack, but that's impossible kind of. I got that kind of comment. No, that can't be done. That's not possible. And I'm like, it has to be. You can't just give an NFL Blitz hat to a person that pre-orders. That's not good enough. Like, it's just not. Listen, I would love an NFL Blitz hat, but I that's not a reason why. Like, he's going to get one right now, I bet.
Yeah, he's
That's not.
Yeah, they got me for a hat.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't mind it. Like, hey, an Arcade1up t-shirt with a pre-order, but I said, hey, let's do this. $100 off, at least $50 off, but $100 off. It gives customers now an incentive to pre-order. And that's really cool that you brought that up, Bill, because I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to jump back up to, like, a said $5.99. I thought $4.99 was going to be kind of hoping my fingers, like, hey, $3.99 kind of got my interest a little bit in that. Even though I already have it, it would be something interesting to possibly reskin or something like that. But
well, it is interesting that all the other deluxes that we've got, that $4.99 is the regular price, and this one said it's a pre-order price, and supposedly it's going to go back up to the same price as the original Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at $5.99. I gotta think that's because of the Capcom/Disney license. That's pushing that price up.
When I mean, let's face it, when they dropped the Street Fighter 2 HS5, like that thing, people was like, that's cool. But I think people were hesitant to jump on it. But when it launched at $3.99, like they sold a ton. That's when I got it, right? They sold a ton. And then the reviews from people immediately were like, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
And then they sold way more, right?
Yep.
So
Just I want you to think Arcade1up, please. I mean, Darren Kang, look at he used to work for Arcade1up. He said, "Oh, I wanted to incentivize pre-orders for a limited time discounts all the way back in 2020." I mean, literally, that's why, guys, like, just put me on a conference call and I will show you the sheets of lists that I have for you. It's for free. Like, and I don't care if you've already heard it before, but you're coming from one of the top people that just diehards in the community that I'm telling you, it's only going to be good things. I only want a company like an Arcade1up to succeed. I want the titles. I want everybody else to have the titles. I want the new form factor. Same with everybody else. I want them to be able to have more money to indulge in the XL line. Like, that needs to be funded. I want them to do weird, wacky shit as long as you're keeping true to your name as Arcade1up, not, claw machine 1-up kind of thing. There was a comment here. Let me see if I can go back. Zero Redux says, "What's up with the $100 plus risers? I'm looking at GI Joel and Buy Stuff." Okay, Buy Stuff does incredible work. Bill, you just put out a video of the sit down. I watched that twice over. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't like it's cool. It's cool that like you have a choice to kind of get your own seat. But it's like, damn, like I gotta buy the seat too. Like, that's a lot.
It's not a cheap mod.
No, but it's
in the
cool.
end, it's
it looks cool.
Really cool, but it's not
looks
a cheap
dope.
mod. Although I'll tell you, for what it 150, 160, whatever it is, to do the 3-inch added height to it and change the graphics to look more like the actual arcade one.
Yeah.
That would be tempting. If I had the Fast and the Furious, I might be tempted to do that just to change the look of it so it looks more like the arcade machine on the sides.
I would love that.
Bad. I mean, you can get that. That's not much off of what you're going to pay for custom graphics anyway.
Anywhere else, yeah, I would love that mod. So I think the Fast and Furious height's pretty good, pretty decent. They definitely improved it. I would love that mod on like an Outrun or Ridge Racer because that was much lower. I mean, that 3 inches could pretty much bring it up to the form factor of what the Fast and Furious is.
I think they have some risers for those that you can just basically put the cabs.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah,
the way the Fast and the Furious is made, there was no way for them to build a riser that it would just sit on. They had to redo the 2 side pieces.
Yeah, that's a mod right there because you really got to put everything in. You can't just like stack it on top of each other. But
so Johnny Blaze asked about HS5 for $299.
Yeah,
and if what he wants to do is watch eBay for Spreetail. If you look at Spreetail's store on eBay, they sell them there for $299. They call them quote unquote like open box or return, but that's I believe where K9 or 19K Fox got both of his for $299, and they've been perfect when he gets them. They're brand new, and so just keep an eye out there. He's gotten a couple in the last 2 months or a month and a half.
That's how 19K Fox got his. He did the open box. I saw that and I was like, open box. Oh, I don't know about that. That thing's gonna be beat to hell. And then they probably
but he didn't care because he was going to completely change the way it looked anyway.
Yeah,
if there were any defects, he was going to cover them up.
It literally looked like someone just opened the box and were like, "Oh, you got to assemble this thing?" Yeah, no, thank you. I'm sending this back, kind of thing. Everything was intact perfectly. I'm like, shit, I would have bought that. How cool would it have been to have that? I would have done everything, just make it like a Final Fight or something. Like that would have been super easy. Just get the marquee and then get a new bezel. You didn't have to do the side art if you didn't really want to. You just leave it. But that would have been a super easy mod. And then GI Joel's risers, guys. And I know somebody commented here. I think it was Julio Hernandez about what happened. Where's my X-Men cab? X-Men cab is literally right now. I can touch it. It's right here. That's built right now. And guys, if you follow the channel, we're going to be doing some big time modding to that. We're going to be putting a Joe Sables marquee, which I immediately, when I placed the order, I said, hey Joe, so when does that marquee come in? Because you got to do that immediately. You need to send an email. And he's like, oh, I'll get it started next week. If you don't say anything, it'll be 3 months till you see the thing. So you always got to email Joe, unfortunately. But we got that coming, and then we're gonna have GI Joel's Riser, which I know Zero Redux was talking about. What's going on with that? He does some incredible work. I'm going to see if I can get him on the show once we get the project in, so I can kind of showcase his stuff and then take a look at see how it transforms ours. But it's pretty much going to take this Riser X-Men and make it into a deluxe X-Men. So we're going to get rid of the Riser completely. It's going to be a flush design. I'm thinking from like the prototypes he's shown me so far, it's phenomenal. I'm very excited. And then obviously we're going to take it and make it a 2-player. The guys over at 99 Lives Arcades, everything is going to be coming at once, it looks like. So fingers crossed that they can get it shipped out.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you're going to drop a 32-inch screen in there and make it a 6-player.
No, we're doing the opposite. If anything, we're gonna make it like a 1-player, so we're gonna shrink the thing. No, but that'd be dope. Like, can you imagine if I had the space? I would totally be all in on Fox's 6-player X-Men. That would be so cool, so cool. But yeah, those are the things that are coming. It's gonna be very fun. My wife's gonna be very excited. And while we're on that topic, I don't want to dive too deep, but we do have some cabs for sale just because we're kind of like technically maxed out. I could probably fit one more right by Star Wars, but then we're gonna have to take the door off and I'll put like a soundproof curtain on here. But that would be like the last kind of spot available. And I got like Atari 50th Dark Realm. I'm sorry, but Atari 50th is up for sale. Joust is up for sale and possibly Centipede. But I really, really want NBA Jam Deluxe, and I'm gonna have to make that into a 2-player as well. But having I kind of have the same games, the Centipede, Atari, Joust, Mortal Kombat, same thing. I want to bring NBA Jam back. We used to have it like the old Swan design. And they just really did a really good job reimagining that cab again and giving it a fresh look. And I had no idea about 99 Lives Arcade. That was when I was really young into the hobby. And they do an incredible job. You guys saw my Blitz mod. I was just blown away, guys. If you have any 4-player cabinet, I'm telling you right now, you make it a 2-player, it'll breathe new life into that thing where you can have more room for more arcades. And at the end of the day, that's what it matters.
So I know how you can double up the number of arcades you have in that room.
A multi-arcade.
Just switch to peasant cabs and stack them on top of each other.
Yeah, exactly. Make a second floor. Like put some shelving in like right over here, and then get one of them like library ladders that you can just like wheel across. So funny, dude. I can't wait till I get a basement. One day we will get a basement, and it's gonna be the best thing ever. I want to get one of those. You guys ever see those those galaxy projectors on the ceiling? I kind of want to do something like that. I just don't know which one to get because some of them look really cheap and then some of them look really cool, but I don't want to pay that much. I'm not trying to pay $200 for this thing, but the $25 ones kind of scare me a little bit. It's like, do they really give it a cool effect, or is it just like a light on the wall, pretty much? If you guys keep asking questions, we'll get to them. I kind of got sidetracked here. I'm sorry. I don't even know where we left off. Where we were talking about what now? I literally got sidetracked. We were talking about incentives to pre-order. So getting over that. Any other questions, like logistic wise? Like, was there something that got put a bell in your head that said wow, Arcade1up is literally never gonna come out with this title. Even if we want it, even if there's 3,000 signatures, because a company like this Think Up that has been designing their cabinets, they came out with this golf with golf. What is it called? The golf Shuffle golf. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, it looks kind of cool. We'll get that in a second. But if they can come up with something that's what is it called? The HasLab does it. It's the pre-order,
a Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Yeah. Now I heard in the past that Arcade1up doesn't do Kickstarters because it hurts the branding of the licensor. And that could be totally false because there's no branding and licensor in Shuffle Golf. That's Think Up's own thing. But why isn't there something like this, like an At Games model? It didn't hurt the pre-orders, didn't hurt the Addams family. I think they're okay, so and they boom, direct to house, no going to a Best Buy, no going to anything. Why couldn't something be done like that for reasonable price? Wouldn't be anything crazy, and we could get said title I think a Cuber, and we've gone over this numerous times, but I think a Cuber would be perfect for that because you bring that to a Best Buy and nobody knows what the hell you're talking about, which is more mind blowing in my head. How is a this is where I'm gonna go off in a second. I don't want to do this because how is a buying team for a $1 billion company like Best Buy, for example, or Amazon or whoever, Shop Hippo. I know they're not a $1 billion company, but how are you on a buying team and you don't know what something is?
Yeah. Well,
Do your
I would.
research. That's what you get paid for. Like, how do you walk in there and say, "No, I don't"? What is that? Like, what do you mean? What is that? You're supposed to know.
Yeah,
Like,
especially
you
a
didn't
title like
you didn't
Cubert,
prep for
right?
the meeting. Like it's like so that kind of stuff just gets me so excited. It's like, guys, come on, wake up. Let's dust the shoulders off and let's pay attention here, kind of
Yeah.
thing. I could be totally out of my element. I don't know, but maybe they know what it is, but they just think it's not going to sell. But it's always hard for me to think. How can you think a new title is not going to sell, but you think a re-release title for the 56th time is going to make its way through 56 of the same houses, kind of thing? It's kind of, I don't know. What is your take on it?
Well, I want to touch on your crowdfunding comment because I've heard that. Of course, we've heard that several times in the space that there
Yep.
are brands that would be worried if it failed. I think maybe that there's one brand that would worry, and that brand's name is Disney. Aside from that, all we have to do is look at New Wave Toys and look at Numbskull, and they only do pre-orders, right? They don't
Right.
make these things until they sell enough in pre-order. And it is the exact same thing, right? When New Wave Toys with the black hole pinball had a big celebration when they hit the number of pre-orders they needed to actually make the thing. So we're seeing that a lot of these companies are all in on that. Now it's probably not everybody, but there's certainly a wide variety of cabs coming out from those companies. We also heard Data East will give their license to anybody. So if that's
Yep.
true, surely they can do a Double Dragon or, you know, one of the million other Data East titles that are really popular through a crowd fund. So it's just a lack of will.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, how do you feel about that? Like, you think is that like possible? You think why not? Like, you have an opportunity to sell cabinets. You're getting the info first. You're not making said product, and now you're sitting on it, and like nobody wants to buy a, let's say, Cuber, and then now you just wasted $3,000, 3,000
Right.
cabs. It's, hey, we'll make this if we have the funding,
Right.
and you might be pleasantly surprised that it goes over that, and you're like, wait a second, shit, that worked. Should I do, I don't know, this title because we already have it? I mean, they claim to have 90% of the arcade titles. So why wouldn't you like dip your toes into all these avenues that Best Buy says no to, or a Shop Hippo says no to? I mean, we've heard this story before. The only reason that Time Crisis is sitting right next to me is because the owner of Shop Hippo wanted it. Like, that's mind blowing. That means we're not going to get like that literally is like alarms gone off. It's like, what do you mean? Like, so now we can only get something if a CEO wants it? What kind of business model is that? Like, we'll never see anything cool. Like, those days of, oh, could they have this, that, and the other? Like, that just like, it literally like pin popped in my balloon and I just got deflated. And I'm like, wow. So, like, my home arcade has to rest on the shoulders of if a CEO heard of Hydro Thunder or not, and if they beg and plead and want to get it. It's like, man, that really sucks at the end of the day. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, and it's interesting, James, that you brought up, like, say, New Wave Toys and Quarter. See, the difference from what I can tell is you look at a company like New Wave Toys. New Wave Toys doesn't put their products in a store. Everything is direct to the consumer. They are looking to us to see if we are interested enough to buy it. And once we say yes in big enough numbers, it gets made. Arcade1up is the complete opposite. Arcade1up is primarily, I was going to say only, I'll say primarily concerned with selling to retailers. If Walmart doesn't know what Cubert is, but they'll buy another 10,000 Pac-Man, guess what? Arcade1up's making another Pac-Man because they know they can make bank on it. They're more concerned with selling to the retailer than to us. Now, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day that'll change. Maybe there'll be, big enough community, big enough amount of people really interested in this stuff that they can be excited about selling more to us. Then, because I've always maintained, and I've been involved in my own sales company a little bit. it's usually a lot easier to sell a product to an existing customer than it is to try to generate a brand new one.
Yep.
But Arcade1up seems more interested in just throwing these out at retail and trying to just get more and more new customers without really catering to the existing ones that much.
Yeah, I think there's a couple big things there, right? So New Wave toys can do the drop shipping much easier because they're smaller, right? You got a box
Very
like
true
yay
too.
big,
Yes.
and so they can fit a lot more, and their warehouse maybe can store it. Whereas these Arcade1ups are huge, and so they have to work with somebody to be the drop shipper because they're not going to do it.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, and it just left my brain. So you were just mentioning, oh yeah, the retailers in the two different markets. This is where Arcade1up's like business strategy kind of goes off the rails because typically you have your entry market, right? You want to bring a customer in, your new customers. But once
Mhm.
they're your customers, you want to upsell them into lots of other things. And
100%.
and they should be using the retail and the Pac-Mans and the Mortal Kombats and the Street Fighters as that entry cab. Then once you're in, they should have like, hey, look at all these other things we offer directly. Start
Mhm.
loading up your house with these things, right?
Yep.
But all they look for, like you said, is, oh, we're just concerned with the new one-time buyer, which eventually you
Right.
run out of those.
Right.
Exactly. It's like a
Right.
one and done. It's like you have to
Yeah.
cater. This we've talked about this numerous times. You have to cater to the people that are your fans. You've made me into a fan. So now you're just gonna dump me off on the wayside.
Mhm.
Like you should want to cater towards somebody like all of us. We're all super fans. Everybody in the chat, the 60 people watching here, I can guarantee you have more than one Arcade1up or home arcade product in their house. And what do you say to that? You just say, "Ah, we're good. We want to see the next person." And like to your point, James, you're gonna run out of that. It's like
Right.
mining for fuel, oil. You're gonna
Mhm.
run out of it
Yep.
eventually. Like you need
Yeah.
to find a new spot. You need to find something new and exciting. And I always said, "Hey, cater towards the new people all day, but you got to at least pay attention." And that's where I said 4 new titles a year, which again, that's to in my world of logistics. And if you're working for Arcade1up, you're working bell to bell every day. That's not an impossible task, but I would be just happy with 2 titles now in the 80s and the 90s every year, which is not a lot. That's one every 6 months. And then you're putting out your individual re-releases, your Infinity game boards, your claw machines, your skee ball or whatever, like all your just bogus kind of stuff, your
Mhm.
shuffle shot golf kind
Yeah,
of
your
thing. Like,
shuffle golf or whatever.
Yeah.
but by the way, what is like real quick? What is your guys' thoughts? I know you guys, Bill, you made a video on this. What is your initial thoughts about that product?
I think it's an interesting concept. I think it'd be a lot of fun in like a little, if you have like a little bar area set up and whatever. I'm a little concerned about how well made it is. It does look a little bit flimsy. But other than that, I think it could be a lot of fun. Especially if it's something that they continue to support. One of the things on it is one side of it is a play field that's supposed to look like a golf course, and it's got 2 sides on it. You have the front 9 on one side, you flip it over for the back 9. That is going to get boring real quick. You got to sell more of those to change the game up, and maybe even change it into something that's not golf. Maybe it's traditional shuffleboard type thing or whatever to make that more fun and more interesting. But I think it's a cool concept. And, at the it's 250 retail, but it's 180 right now for the first part of the Kickstarter. Then it goes to 190 and so on and so forth. At the lower price points, it could be a fun buy for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. It's a clever idea, and I'm more power to the people that come up with games like that. I think it's pretty innovative from a game standpoint. It's not for me. I'm not a shuffleboard fan by any means, and that just doesn't seem too entertaining. But I can totally see, like, if I had a friend that had it and for a tailgate or something like that,
Right.
pounding some beers and playing that. But
Yeah.
it's not something I'd run out and buy. But it's not for me. It's for the people that love golf and shuffleboard.
Right. Right.
There's a
And
niche market for it.
yeah. And it's low tech. There's like,
Oh, yeah.
plug this in at all. There's no lights. There's no score. But it's a little
literally
play
something
field.
that anybody can play.
Yeah, so like even to your point of like a tailgate, you know, you're having a party at your house and you put this on the back porch and let people play it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry
Reminds
about
me of
plugging
like
it in.
bags and the one with the little balls that you hang up on the
Yes. Yep.
it's a game.
Cornhole, all that
It's
kind of
like
stuff.
a game like that. Exactly. Yeah.
I could see us getting a 3/4 scale bubble hockey anytime now. Just you can feel it, right? It
That
would be
would
cool.
actually be cool. That I'd
Dylan-
be interested in.
Yeah,
I have an air
Dylan-
hockey table that I love.
That one company that was cranking those out, didn't they just go out of business like 6 months ago or something?
Probably.
What, bubble hockey?
Yeah, there was a company that was making new ones, and you could get all kinds of different editions and stuff.
Well,
but I
shit.
heard
Let
they
me know about that
closed.
because I would love a bubble hockey, man. I played the hell out of that when I was a kid too. Like
Yeah.
those are super fun. We recently went to the Garcade. It's an arcade around our house here, and they had one, and we were all playing as a family. It was great. 2v2 was awesome.
Mhm.
But yeah, to your point, Bill, that actually like gives me an idea. Like, if you could plug that in, like it had like a scoreboard and stuff, that would be cool. Like sensors on the play field that like when you got into that, it would just automatically count it. Like that'd be really cool instead of you
Yeah.
hand counting it on a whiteboard. But yeah, to your point too,
Double and
100%.
triple the price on it, but yes, it would be
That's
cool.
the thing.
Yeah.
To your point, the 180 price point, that's pretty affordable to come into something to add to your game room or
Yeah.
your barcade.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think they should give you like 5 of those boards where you can make it like different themed or different courses or whatever the case may be. Maybe like different intensity levels. Like 1 is a little bit easy, 5 is extremely hard. So it gives you sort of like a challenge to kind of play.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well,
I
get
mean,
in there and back it. If enough people do, you can get that second tropical course. So there
yeah,
you go.
right. You get the what was it,
Yeah, they gotta hit like
$100,000
$100 grand in order to do that. But yeah, but
The
I wouldn't be
tropical-
if first off they're gonna hit their main goal of 25,000.
yeah.
They're already over halfway there, so that's a done deal. They're gonna make this thing. Even if they don't hit that 100,000, I think they'll support it with boards like that.
Well, that's a great
they'll
upsell,
hook
right?
people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have room in our house for that though. We got the pub table, the Atari pub table, Bill, and I was telling you about this.
Mhm.
James, do you have that one or no?
I do not.
Okay. So it was originally designed to be in the kitchen, and it was like a little bit bigger than I thought it was gonna be. Like it's weird because the actual round
huge.
top itself,
Yeah.
yes, the round top itself was actually pretty small. And I was like, oh, I thought it was gonna be bigger, but the base, like the dimensions I somehow had in my head, I thought it was gonna work more than what. But my wife was like, "Why don't we put it in the corner of our living room?" And we kind of moved it over there, and we were like, "Wow, that looks a lot better." So it's in the original cornercade spot, which is kind of cool. It was designed to kind of like eat at, or I could play games while my wife or whatever is with the kids, while the wife's making food or whatever. We can all kind of be inclusive in the kitchen and have some fun. But it looks like it's going to be staying in the home in the living room, so it might get some more gameplay then, because we really weren't playing it because the area it was in was like kind of small and crammed. It just didn't really work. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna order some bar stools for it. I think we'll have some fun with that. But like I said, that would have been my corner where a pinball could have gone, and B the 3/4 scale shuffle golf could have gone too. Well, who knows?
Well, what they need to do is release like a black light shuffle golf, and then it'll work
Oh,
in
yeah.
everybody's arcade.
Like a glow in the dark.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. I'm sure you can make that. Just slap some paint on there, like on the lines and stuff, and then have the neon light. That'd be a whole different. The modding community would go nuts. Everybody would love that for sure. Oh man, that's too funny. So, do we think, now that Think Up, we're talking about the shuffle golf here. Are they not like? I know there's rumors. They're like venturing off to do their own thing. Like I saw the Arcade1ups in the background with the CEO doing his spiel. Are they like not affiliated with 1UP anymore? Are they kind of doing their own thing and working with Arcade1up? What do you guys know about that?
I don't know for sure. I've heard some rumors that they kind of split ways, but I don't know that for sure. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
e-
I don't have any idea, right? I think Michael B said it was the guy designed the Infinity game table and stuff that is running Think Up. I think it's just it's too coincidental that it's Think Up, right? And Arcade1up. I would imagine they're still connected. And like you said, all the videos have all those Arcade1up machines in the background.
Yeah.
So it really looks like it's filmed in some Arcade1up office.
Yeah.
And
They don't do stuff just for Arcade1up though. They're
right. Yeah,
heavily
they have the
involved
toy
in
company
designing
and
toys and things for a lot of different companies. I think Arcade1up's just, first off, the one we know the most, but they're also probably the most prominent one that they've worked with.
Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say
maybe they designed those cabs that they have, and they're their prototype
That's what I
models or
think too.
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like what you were saying to your point, like because he says it in the video, like, hey, we're from the lovable company of Arcade1up or whatever, and they do the Infinity game. He like states that out to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing now to kind of
Yeah.
add to your collection of that, kind of piggybacking off of that. But I didn't even know that they made they designed the cabs for Arcade1up. I thought that was all done in house, and I was like, Cyrus, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting this art on there? Just do the original thing. If you can't do it, then I don't know, do this instead. But it's interesting to see, like, we get a cab like the Atari 50th, and we're all under the assumption that they worked directly with Atari to design this thing, and Atari was like, yeah, obviously we want to make it look like this behind me because we want our branding all over it, and that's not really the case at all. From what we're gathering from these different streams now and that you guys have touched on, it seems like Arcade1up designed that, and Atari was just okay. Whatever you want to do, we're in partnership and agreement of that. And then it's a different question. It's like, Arcade1up, what are you doing? Like, and that goes on to X-Men 97, and my wife still said it to this day. She was like, oh, that's a 499 cab, that was cool. Why is MVC 2 games in it? And this will lead to a different slew of money at the end of the day, is going to be the root of all evil and all success. But yeah, if you're gonna market an X-Men cab, you need to put the X-Men beat 'em up in there. And if you can't do that, like, I get it, you want to piggyback on all this stuff, you just don't do it. Not everything needs a cab. Are they gonna come out with like the McDonald's cab because there's the double Big Mac or whatever? Like, no, like it's getting like played out where it's like, dude, you guys look like you're just desperately trying to cling on to anything, and maybe they are, because we've heard that they might be in some financial strains where the collab cabs, for lack of a better word, could be something that's going to get them out of this rut, along with rebranding the Mortal Kombat, the Street Fighters, the Ataris, and so on and so forth. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, and this goes back to what you were asking before about like what was the thing that surprised you, and that was the one that I did the video on, and I was very surprised to find out that you look at something, and again, this is according to John D, that you look at something like the Atari 50th or this new X-Men 97, and that those designs originated with Arcade1up. That Atari didn't come to them and say the next cab you release, it's got to have Atari 50th all over it. They made that and said, hey, Atari, look what we just did for you. And again, possibly the same thing with this X-Men 97, that, looking for a reason to re-release Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which, by the way, was supposed to be very limited. You got to go buy it now because we're not going to make that many of them. And now all of a sudden, and now you've released it 2 more times, the Kith one and now this one. So shame on us for falling for the FOMO. I like my Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I do like it. I have no plans of getting rid of it. I love playing it and whatever, but I fell for the FOMO on it because they were only supposed to make so many of them, and now you've done it twice. That X-Men 97, I agree with you. That was a missed opportunity to redo the 4-player X-Men in a deluxe with that art if you wanted to go in that direction. Totally a missed opportunity.
I mean,
now
literally,
I don't know,
it's
maybe they can't ever do that again because of the weird configuration of a Konami game with 2 Data East games. That might have been again, going back to some of this stuff on licensing and all, that might have been a one-time deal that they can't ever reproduce.
Yeah, at the very least, they had an opportunity. I realized like X-Men versus Street Fighter and X-Men Children of the Atom are on that cab.
Yeah.
They could have done the artwork for those games and just released it as X-Men at the same time as X-Men 97. Yeah. I think, somebody commented, oh, John D said they weren't collab cabs, and he certainly did say that, right? He said in the AMA that they were marketing pushes. It was all done to coincide with the marketing. But the one thing, we know Cyrus says different, like when on Atari 50th, he says Atari wanted that design. And so what you can say is that Atari 50th is a unique trademark of Atari, as is X-Men 97. Those are separate logos and separate trademarks. And Arcade1up just can't go use those if they feel like. They had to get additional approval and license from Atari and Disney to use it. So there's some level of involvement from those companies in order for them to have the rights to use those. And I doubt they came free, right? So, there's something there that is getting lost in translation that it's hard to understand exactly what happened until we hear like Cyrus tell us his side of the story or whatever.
Yeah, and that's one of the interesting things about this whole licensing stuff, and I'm learning more and more as time as I follow this stuff. I learn more and more about this stuff. And James, you probably know even more than I do about it. But when you look at this stuff, there's actually a lot of different licensing that goes into every one of these cabs. The games, the artwork, potentially, especially if it's a recreation of something, the logos, and like somebody made a comment on one of my, I think it was my Class of 81 video. Like I guess they saw the cabs on Amazon or whatever, and they thought they weren't legit. They thought they were bootleg cabs because they couldn't find a Namco logo on it. Said, yeah, they can license the game, they can license the artwork, but Namco's not Namco anymore. It's Namco Bandai. You can't go slapping a Namco logo on there. And apparently they don't want to put the Namco Bandai one on. So it's a totally separate license.
Yep. And then they have to license the emulators that run it under the hood. It's not like you can just go use them. And there's all different kinds of paying out everybody. And from the sounds of it, it's like they also hire a third party to do the cabinet design itself. So like, I wonder how much of any of this is actually done by Arcade1up and isn't just a bunch of, third parties that they just connect all together to do all the work and then they just sell the final product.
Which is crazy at the end of the day. It's like the logistics side of it. It's like, man, we think that there's like, why wouldn't you come out with this? Well, maybe it's just like not physically possible. And this is where I would love for Arcade1up to be just more transparent with us and the casual just getting into this hobby to say, hey, look, there's stuff that we can't do, and this is why we would love to bring you said title, but it's just never going to happen because of X, Y, and Z, where we can kind of paint a picture ourselves as okay, like that's cool, instead of just sitting here like bashing the company when they could have been like, whoa, we can't do that. It's not even feasible, and here's why. Now I could totally be on the flip side of that and say if every title is available and it's all rosy glosy, like as long as like we're talking pregame here, if Shop Hippo turns around and says, what's a title? Like, we'll just say Hydro Thunder, right? I want to stand up Daytona. I want to stand up Hydro Thunder. Can they actually go and make that? Is that actually something they can flip around and in 6 months we got one in the cornercade right now? Or is that something that's just never going to happen because of the money involved, or whoever owns it just not going to release that? I know Sega was redoing a bunch of their stuff and we haven't seen anything from Sega. Maybe Sega was looking to say, Arcade1up's getting successful at this. Let's take all of our titles back and we'll just come up with our own stuff. And we won't make
my understanding is all those things Sega's doing with the, what is it, Sega Charged or whatever it's called. They're all turning into live service games. So Crazy Taxi is going to be a live service game and all these things. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, there's just a lot of logistics involved in all that. Like you said, even if Shop Hippo said, make us a Hydro Thunder, can they get the Hydro Thunder license? Do they have a PCB capable of running that? Because that's a game. It's funny you say that one, because that is a game that is notoriously hard to emulate. Like, I don't think they have hardware right now at Arcade1up that could handle that game.
What is it? System 22? Is that like Time Crisis? Or is that?
Oh, I had this. Is it System 22?
Because I know that's Ridge Racer, right?
They're different.
Would you be able to do a Daytona, or is that just too advanced? Like San Francisco Rush. Does Atari still own that or no? These are all the questions that I have. We
I don't
recently
know.
went to
Yeah, I'm not
we
sure
recently
who
went to the
owns
Garcade,
San
and
Francisco.
I
Yeah,
saw San
yeah,
Francisco
I'd have to
Rush
look
like 20
again.
something whatever. I'm like,
And it's funny,
Atari. I'm like,
I was actually just researching some stuff with that System 22 for something. I wonder if I can find my notes.
Bill can look it up real quick because I was like, dude, they have a great working relationship with Atari. San Francisco Rush should be a shoe in. Like, are you kidding me? Like, why wouldn't you do that? But Garage Gamer asked James, do you like anything or do you just hate everything?
No, I hate everything.
Well, I mean, come on now. Love it. Half a dozen said publisher, IP holder, developer, music rights, etc.
Yeah, music is a killer.
Yeah,
for a lot of
definitely.
games.
Yeah, and that's where a game like Crazy Taxi would just never happen.
Oh,
It's impossible.
Even the art,
KC,
right? Track and field is problematic because the artist doesn't want anybody to use the art because Konami never purchased the rights from him.
Yeah.
So like side art from Track and Field, if we ever get one, will be different because the artist refuses to let anybody use it anymore.
Yeah. So yes, Ridge Racer was System 22, which was a system that came out in '92. It was primarily used for a lot of those PlayStation-esque racing games in the arcade. A couple of years later, because I'm working on, all right, this is going to be a little spoiler because I was working on a thing of with Tekken, could they do Tekken? Tekken came out a couple of years later on System 11, which was a slightly more advanced version. The original PlayStation is, forget if it's the PlayStation is based on System 11 or if System 11 is based on the PlayStation. It's one or the other, but it's basically similar to the original PlayStation hardware, kind of like Naomi and Dreamcast share a lot of the same guts.
So it could happen, but it's just a little bit more, because I know what Travis said. He said either you pay for developing or you pay for like hardware. And he said, with really good development, like a Code Mystics, they can get something to run on something that's less,
You can only do so much without hurting things, right? So take Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious runs. It doesn't run at HD. They had to downgrade that a bit, so it doesn't look as good as the arcade. And the textures frequently malfunction, right? Because it can't load enough into memory fast enough. And so while the game plays well, it's not as arcade accurate because the hardware can't run it. So they had to cut things way back.
Yeah, it's definitely a downgrade from the arcade.
And so there's some question there of is it worth doing that? Would you pay, would people pay more? Would you pay $100 more if they put in a slightly better chip? Because just the slightly better chip will enable them to do lots of stuff.
Sure.
I think She-Lion mentioned the chip that's on that HS5 is pretty decent, but it's only got like 1 gig of RAM on it. Well, that would cost them pennies to add another, to add more RAM to that, that alone would let things run smooth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is something we all want. It's like I always said, yes, is the arcade Fast and Furious better? Of course, like it's not even a question. But still, getting the Fast and Furious that we have now, like it's still fun. I still love it. I'll still play it. I've always said I'd rather have concessions on something than to just never have it at all. Because otherwise we'd have the same stuff over and over and over again because we'd be stuck in that time period. We would never be pushing the needle at all to getting something just a little bit better.
Quite frankly, I'd settle for them putting in the 25-cent HDMI port so we could actually stream these things.
Instead of putting a camera next to it. But it's like you think about it, like somebody said that, like light up coin doors and everything. Well, this is all the logistic things. That's a super fan of me talking. But how much is a light up coin door? Let's just say it's 75 cents, $3, whatever. If you take that times how many cabs they made, I mean, could that be a lot of money? Could that be, $100,000 that they could save? We don't know how big or small Arcade1up is. We just know, and this is again the clarification of things. Just somebody from 1UP getting on with a show or something to say, hey, look, it's possible. And if you guys, I didn't even realize that you guys wanted that. Put a poll in the chat. Do you guys want light up coin doors on everything? Sometimes, guys, to be quite honest with you, companies stay in their bubble and they don't like, the higher up you get, the more like disconnected you get from what's actually going on in real time on the sales floor kind of thing. So maybe they don't know that we actually want this or that in a cabinet, and there's no show to answer or ask these questions. So they just keep on doing the same thing. And when you keep on doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. So you're not
I
getting
think
better,
they
you're not getting
know.
worse. Like, I
Right,
hope.
they've put it in there, so they know, right?
But Cyrus did say, he said, and I remember this. I wish I could pull this up, but he said, I think it was one of those Atari 50th interviews that he said, yeah, we had a little bit of room in the budget, so we added the light up coin door. It's like there was no like, oh, this is a must have in every cab.
Yeah,
This
they're
is, oh,
going
they
for
had
a
a little wiggle
specific
room. So
yeah, they're going for a specific manufacturing cost. And if
Right.
they can fit it in that, they're okay with it. If it pushes it over, they don't want to do it. But, to circle back to the AMA thing with John, right? We know how many cabs they need to do a run of a cab, right? That's 3,000.
Right.
The 3,000 is the minimum. If they can sell 3,000 of them, they can make it. And that's a fairly small number, considering the size of these things. I mean, look at the we talked about the At Games 4KP. Like they've sold a ton of those. I got mine in the first wave that shipped, and mine's like number 500 and something. So they're on wave 3 or 4 at this stage. And so they sold a ton of the At Game or the Adams family. And so you go back to the Kickstarter idea, the crowdfunding idea, just like with Think Up, right? You put it out there, you get, 3,000 of them. You make the cab with here's the deluxe cab with the bare minimum. You sell 4,000 of them. We're going to throw in a working lit corn door. You sell 5,000 of them. We're going to put in surround sound speakers and force feedback, or you name it, all these extra features, HDMI ports, things like that. It's incentivized to get people to buy more of the things. And it's the perfect avenue. They just still don't, they're too afraid to try it or something.
do they not do
I
it
don't
because
know.
it's just like a logistics nightmare for them, or like I just don't get it? Like, why
Partially,
you
but
wouldn't?
they could hire I keep drawing a blank on the name. Their distribution company does that. Like if you go out I keep wanting to say Coke, but I know that's not what it is. Kokum. There it is.
Kokum, yes.
Kokum,
Yeah.
Kokum,
Kokum.
yes.
You look at Kokum's like business description, that's literally what they do. They do shipping to retailers, which is clearly what they're doing for Arcade1up. They also do drop shipping to end customers. So they facilitate the Kickstarter type, direct to consumer model.
Yes.
They're already working with Arcade1up.
Yep.
Why wouldn't they just take the next step and say, yeah, occasionally we'll do one of these with you? Not in large quantity, and you have to pre-sell them so that when they get here, we can just shove them right out the door. Because I think that was the problem when they did that with like Dragon's Lair and whoever, the company they were using for that stuff, like it drove them out of business because they were sitting on a giant warehouse of these things because they didn't pre-sell them. They just, made a whole ton of them and then tried to leak them out online only. Like, I mean, they haven't even sold through the 500 KI pros, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's the problem, is like they kind of tripped over their own feet with that, because that's not how a Kickstarter works. Like Kickstarter works is like, hey, we got a really good idea, much like the shuffle golf. Don't make anything yet. Let's see if we can hit our backing, and then we're gonna mass produce these things, and in 6 months you'll get them.
Yeah, and they
Arcade1up
might
did it.
produce an extra 10% for stock or something, but it's all profit at that point.
Exactly, and Arcade1up did it like the reverse. Well, let's make a billion of these Dragon's Lairs, and then let's put the. Like, guys, what are you doing? Like, you're shooting yourselves in the foot. Oh man, it's so aggravating at the end of the day, because a lot of those Dragon's Lairs ended up at retailers, and that was the pre-order. And now do they get scared to then try doing kind of like, they can't do their direct? B Kong has stated flat out that they've sold the warehouses, they fired everybody, let everybody go that did that. So they can't do the direct to consumer anymore. But I totally believe, and unless we hear something from the horse's mouth, that they could totally do a direct consumer, kind of like what Games did. It's just when they come over, as long as they're pre-ordered units, you see what happens. It's just a Kickstarter at the end of the day. If they do a Kickstarter, I swear to God that you could definitely sell some of those niche titles that you don't think a retailer could buy. I think a Double Dragon would be perfect for that. I think a Track and Field would be perfect for that. I think a Cubert would be perfect for that. All the stuff that everybody wants in their arcade because it's something new, fresh title. And I think even a Smash TV would be perfect for that. It seems like retailers are like, what is that again? Like,
Yep.
what
And
does
the
that
reality
do?
is, we'd all pay up for it, right? Because
Oh yeah.
you would know it's not
You
going
could
to
charge
drop
$100
$100 a
more.
week
Yeah.
later, right?
Yeah.
It's now or never, and I get to get it whatever it is. And on top of that, Arcade1up, let's say, sells them at wholesale to Kokum for $350. So they're only making $350 off of a cab. And so if they sold direct, they get all the profit on top of that, right? They don't have a retailer and somebody sitting in the way. They get to scrape that extra $150 for themselves. And it's just they could make way more money if they just thought it through logistically, and we'd pay up, right?
Yeah.
They could easily get $700 out of a cab because you're never gonna. That's your one shot at it. You better buy it now or it's gone.
Exactly, and you can still do all your Street Fighter, Star Wars, Mortal
Yep.
Kombats, all at the the Bozo shows everywhere else, and you'd still be fine. I just don't understand it. I just wish somebody, I mean, Darren King used to work for him. He says, when I worked at Marvel Comics, I was in the print run meetings when it was decided how much of an issue to print. When I worked at Arcade1up, I was not privy to the production run decisions. So that was kind of how more
So
close to
when
the
were
vest,
you
but-
at Marvel? Because if it was like the mid '90s, that's when they were just like, just lay your finger on the print button and let millions of copies of like X-Men come out.
Yes. And
See
while
the
we're
answer
at
to
it, let's put out the same issue with 20 different covers.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
was collecting back then. Oh my God.
It's worse now because now every comic book store, comic convention, everybody can order their own variant cover. So the people that try to like collect them all, good luck with that.
I live in New York, and every once in a while I'll go into Manhattan. There's a store there called Midtown Comics, and they do their own special things. They have their own variant covers. I've picked up a few from time to time. So yeah, stores have their own variant covers. Anyway, all right, getting off topic.
No, you're good. You're good. 100% good. I'm gonna hit a sounder here because you'll see why in a second. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, stopped in the building with a $4.99 super chat. What's up, fellas? Let's go. Ezekiel, thank you so much for supporting the channel, man. I see I got your gear on. You came at the right time, man. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, man. Really, really, really do appreciate it. And to your guys' point, Darren King answered that question. He said, I was Marvel twice as an intern in the early mid-90s. So to your point, James. And on staff, 2004, 2005. That was when I was in the print run meetings.
Ah, okay.
There you go. There's your answer, dude. Darren King has been everywhere. Let's go.
Works at all the fun companies.
Yeah, right. I wish I could get in on that, dude. Oh God, if I could get into the facility at Arcade1up, it would be hell would freeze over, and it would be a fun time, dude. I would know a lot, and I would love to throw some ideas at the wall.
Yeah, I'd love to see him do like a documentary and take us through like from the concept ideation stage all the way to shipping a product. Like I'd watch the hell out of that.
And that's what I think they might have done something like that. From what I heard, they might have recorded some stuff. I talked to Cyrus off camera, and I said, I would love to know from whiteboard to the cornercade how it's all done. Like there could be something that could be. I mean, get Retro Ralph to produce the damn thing. Like that'd be fun. Stringer Films, like that would be really really cool for sure. Like the meetings, the arguments, so much stuff. But yeah, I think we touched on. Did we touch on all topics? Oh no, we kind of like breeze over a little bit. Like so with the direction that Arcade1up is going, do we think? I mean, this is like cab number 3. There starts to be a little bit of trend here. Are we thinking this is going to be more of arcade collab or piggyback off of what other companies are doing? Are we looking out for that, that McDonald's arch cab, that double Big Mac cab? Or are we gonna see anything? Where's Smash TV? It's been rumored for like a year now. Is this the next Time Crisis where it's like 2 years later it comes out? I mean, it's Smash TV, for Christ's sakes. It's not even anything that's complicated. That's an 80s trend. What do you guys think at the end of the day? Because I start to see a pattern here. And I know the alarm button isn't sounding off. I should get a sounder like an alarm, like just going crazy. That's not going off, but I do see a pattern here of just, I know the Oreo cab was like for a prize, but again, you have no news. So this is what we have to go off.
Right.
Atari 50th, Oreo, and now we got X-Men 97. What do you think, guys? Where are we going with this here?
My personal opinion is I think you're gonna continue to see a mix of things. I think you're going to still see authentic looking cabs like the Street Fighter 2 HS5, and I think you're going to see a lot of these collab cab, whatever you want to call them. I know John, it's semantics at that
Yeah,
point.
it's
John D
brand
doesn't like
cabs is what
yeah,
it is.
sure. John D only calls them collab cabs if they are limited run like Kith and things like that. But if you're collaborating with a company, it's a even if it's your licensing company, it's a collaboration,
Yeah.
regardless of how you want to put it. But I do think we're going to see a mixture of things. It wouldn't surprise me to see like if something new came out, like a Smash TV, Robotron, whatever. I think the first run of that, they're going to try to get it arcade accurate. I think it would come most likely in Smash TV artwork, and that's what they do, and they try to push that out that way. I think where you're going to see these special branding ones is more on the re-releases. And I think part of the reason for that is because they've released these so damn many times that they've used the artwork, the original artwork up. So now they got to come out with something different.
Yeah.
Think about like Mortal Kombat, for example. It's like they've done like the best of the best is behind me right now. Where do you go from here? Do you just do this in Ultimate MK3 next year? You have that in
Yeah,
MK4, and
You
and then
MK4
they
is
can
brand it with the new
rotate it
movie.
into the number one, with Johnny Cage on it, and they can
Yeah.
they just cycle through them, right?
Yeah.
It's just
And
it's
And they've kind
interesting
of
to
done
see.
that, or then they've kind of done that already. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me to see one branded with the new movie if they put one out this year. It wouldn't surprise me.
yeah,
Because like
that
they've
would
done the
make
best.
sense.
They've
That
done the
would be on
best
brand.
Pac-Man. Yeah, that's what they did. They did the best Pac-Man they've ever done in not only the XL but the deluxe of it. Where do you go from there? Are you gonna put a baby Pac-Man out next year? So it's like you kind of hit your limitations with this. Where it's like, guys, you need to put out new titles. You kind of, for lack of a better word, beat a dead horse. There,
Mhm.
you've improved it, which is great. Like you've listened to the feedback, you've listened to the criticisms, you've made these things bigger, better, badder. Now, where do you go from here? You can't just keep releasing the same deluxe next year and just call it a deluxe legacy line now. And it's the same thing. There's got to be a point of, man, we really need to change our.
So the reality is we're in our third straight year of the same PCBs, right? So
Yes.
that seems to be their MO right now. We're going to release the one PCB and put a new, coat of paint on it and release it. Whether that coat of paint is deluxe or new stickers on the side. I think if we're going to get Smash TV or anything new, it's going to be at Shop Hippo that understands people want new things, not just the re-releases. And I think if we're going to get truly new, that's where it's going to be. We know we're going to get a new XL, right? That Costco's in on it, and it's in some random hotel, right? It's out at the Hotel California or something.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the one though. That's the thing. I don't know if
It might not be, but
Yeah.
from what we're hearing, they definitely Costco has bought one, and it's probably going to come out sooner rather than later, and so something's coming there. No idea what it is, but we're getting one, and so at least that's something. If it's as good as what Pac-Man was, people will line up to buy it.
Yeah.
Because it was quality. Even if it was one we've seen like this year or last year, people will still buy it.
Well, in that XL form factor, that kind of changes the game for some people. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not an
and see,
Excel
and
guy,
that's
but
the thing. Well, but that's the thing. I think a lot of the people who are interested in Excel don't mind the re-releases in Excel because
Right.
that's what they want. They want to replace their smaller machines with Excel. So, I've had this Ms. Pac-Man sitting here for 3 years. Give me an Excel version, I'll sell this one and I will go buy
Yep.
that one. Even though you put out Ms. Pac-Man every single year, you give me an Excel version, I'll be happy. You give me another deluxe version, I don't give a crap. But if you put it in that form factor I want, then
Yeah.
people will be excited about it.
And the reality is, Danny, the Pac-Man XL isn't all that much bigger than a deluxe. It's like barely bigger. So it's
no,
not
it's just like I think it's thicker. Isn't it thicker? Like it's
not by
not
much.
No,
If it
back to
is, it's
front.
only like an inch.
Oh, okay.
It is taller. I think it's only like 2 inches bigger than some of the other ones.
It looks like it's a marquee taller than like a deluxe, and I could be off here.
Depends on the deluxe, right? If I put it
Yeah.
next to, say, my Terminator, they're about the same size.
Oh yeah. That's gonna
yeah.
be a little bit different. But if you put it next to like the Mortal Kombat
Yeah, if
deluxe, I
it's
think it's
next
like a
to
whole marquee.
Simpsons is
Yeah.
like
Oh,
a
Simpsons
beast.
is You gotta get you gotta get a booster riser on top of the riser for that one. Paul Minimus says re-releases in XL are fine. They should be doing this immediately. It's a no-brainer. They have the licenses and the tech already sorted, of course, and
Yep.
you could literally sell it possibly at a discounted rate because
Yeah.
they've already made money off that, depending on the sales and stuff. So
And for a lot of them, it's just some wider panels to make it wider, not necessarily even taller.
Yeah.
very true, very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I gotta and that's another thing that just confuses me at this point. People want the XLs. Why are you piecemealing them out? Why are you just doing 1 or 2 a year? Why aren't you just I don't know. It just it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
It's like
Tesla
I
wanted
don't
to
know
see
why
what
they
works.
want to spread
Keep
these
you
out so
wanting,
much.
keep it exclusive so they
I
can sell through
guess.
them, you know?
I guess.
Costco, you get something special. You're the only one that
Yeah.
gets it, you know?
Like that Star Wars pinball. That was
Yeah, well,
Costco
not everything can
exclusive.
be special.
Yeah, right.
I think
It's
right
too
now,
funny.
aren't they hawking the Partycade or whatever?
I
The
don't
Pac-Man
like
Partycade?
yeah, I don't
Yes.
like that. How did it come to fruition that XLs were only gonna be at the membership stores? What is that?
I don't know,
Like
maybe it's the only one who would buy it, though I find that hard to
Yeah.
believe because, like, Nebraska Furniture Mart will buy any cab they put in front of them.
yeah, that
Like,
display that you showed
they
was
have
gorgeous.
every product they make that they'll sell them, they carry.
Just odd. There's a lot of odd things, and I wish we had answers to that where it's like, "Oh, okay, that does make sense because of this, that, and the other," and then it would just be done. Like, and we could start making progress into things instead of just always speculating on things.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Mhm.
Chris C says here, with Arcade1up not releasing anything I've been interested in since Time Crisis, I have been able to buy 3 Gun for IRs, the Chris Cool mod like gun drive, and a gaming PC laptops. Thank you, 1UP. And that's Chris C makes a good point here. There's money going into different things. Now,
Yes.
I'm gonna put that's essentially how we ended up kind of circling back with X-Men and saying, hey, can we possibly take this and make it a deluxe? Since I don't think Arcade1up is gonna come out with Konami titles in the future. I could be totally wrong. But they haven't done anything Konami and they haven't done anything Sega unless they're gonna blow us away this year or next with some special deluxe re-releases. But that's where we circled the bandwagon and said, hey, look, maybe we can like rehash and refresh this thing a little bit with some of the upgrades that Arcade1up kind of missed out on, and we can kind of bring to light and mod ourselves. And I know people in the chat were saying like they were talking about that modding the X-Men that we got going on, but again, that's why I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't think this is gonna happen, so maybe I'll get NBA Jam and make it a 2-player to bring back that in the arcade. It's a very big lull. I feel like Arcade1up was riding a high wave, kind of up and down, and there's been a lot of low. And could that change with a brand new title? Of course, people are gonna get excited.
Yeah.
I mean, there was even some people excited about the X-Men '97, and then everything could go away, right? But I think there's still a bigger picture here as to man, like you guys were shooting stuff out, and was that in the wrong that you guys were shooting all this stuff out, and did it hurt you at the end of the day? Did it hurt sales that you came up with Simpsons, Turtles, Terminator, Ridge Racer, like boom, 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 like all this stuff, and like did they just not sell at the end of the day? I don't know. That's a question I have for you guys in the chat and everybody in the home arcade community. At the end of
I
the day,
question releasing a new cab every month, which is essentially what they averaged last year, right? I think they ultimately had 12 or 13 products if you count the XL and the Casino Cade. Like that is a lot for a single year, in my opinion. And so keeping up that pace is probably difficult. So a lot of the quiet could be they've slowed it down and said, we're not going to really just shove all that stuff out this year. We're going to do 4 or 5 or something, really slow it down and do, because look, here we are, first quarter, we're about into that third month of the first quarter, and now we have X-Men 97. So will we get another one around May or June where there'll be another announcement? Hey, in July, this is going to come out, and they're going to put, slow roll us one every, 3 months. Maybe they'll go faster. I don't know, but it seems like they're just slowing down, and at the pace of last year, I don't blame them. That seems like a lot of product really fast.
You're not wrong with that, but all of these like let's just call them collaboration cabs or piggyback
they're not going
cabs.
to move the needle.
Those are all just bonus mush that are like, hey, oh, that's dope. I'll just throw that in the arcade. That's not something you build a foundation on. That's quicksand. Like if you threw those in as like, hey, that's kind of cool, but oh yeah, we got the Smash TV. Let's talk about that, or whatever, like authentic home arcade new title that's coming out. Then we're on board. If you want to come out with a a coin pusher or something, oh that's cool, but don't let that be your only 6 month released. That's it. In 6 months we got a coin pusher. Bravo. Like nobody cares. Like that'd be cool to talk about on like a side program to like whatever, but as long as you have your main stake or your XL that's coming out or whatever case, then by all means you can re-release anything you want and you can come up with all this wacky stuff. But to your point, if you're gonna say like, hey, let's look at the first 6 months of Arcade1up, we got a re-release of said deluxe cabinet now, whatever you want to name, Ridge Racer Deluxe, right? And we got X-Men 97. Does that tickle anyone's fancy?
I think some people like the X-Men 97. I've seen quite a few people saying they want it. I mean, it's not going to be for the arcade like enthusiast that wants it exactly like it was, but neither was MVC. The MVC2 we had wasn't. And that art wasn't on there. So they get a little more leeway on that cab, I think. And if you told me Arcade1up had an interesting delivery model, so like we mentioned, they use Kokum. In the comic industry, the monopoly distributor of comics is Diamond Comics.
Yes.
And, DC and Marvel all ship through Diamond. If you told me Arcade1up worked some deal with Diamond where they were going to allow your mom and pop comic shops all over the country to carry this new X-Men 97 in their store by selling through Diamond, one, I think all these mom and pops would buy it because they'd buy 1 or 2 to put in their store because they know they have customers that would buy it for the X-Men artwork on the side. Then I'd have been like, oh, that's ingenious. But that's not what they're doing. They're just going through Amazon and, shilling it like all the other ones.
I think the biggest miss, Wayne, the biggest miss on the X-Men cab, besides the X-Men game, like I get it. You might get a pass because there's the X-Men characters and it says X-Men versus Street Fighter and all these other games. I could see where that would be like a little bit more push. Maybe they're doing that to try to get, some of the profits from MVC2 if it was a big kind of bust. Like, hey, maybe this will help sell that. We can pay that off. I think the biggest one is not putting it in the Dynamo cabinet.
100%.
Yeah,
I do not know why they went back to that midway style one. Now it's the same style that the original release was. It's basically the same style the kit one was. So I think maybe that's the branding on it. Maybe they're just keeping that similar look and feel to it. But to not go into that, if you were going to do it in Big Blue, at least the HS5 would have made so much more sense. At least it would have been a shape that resembled the real arcades, if not the artwork.
The
Yeah.
only reason I can hypothesize they wouldn't have put it in the HS5 is we're getting HS5 with something else this year. And so, because I doubt they would
Possibility.
release the exact same form factor twice. And so I would suspect we're getting some other
Well-
Street Fighter in a HS5 this year.
Uh-oh. Street Fighter 3 Alpha has been
That's what I'm
confirmed.
hoping.
Let's go.
That's what I'm hoping. We know it'll run.
Yeah, I don't know, because
right?
if they do another Mortal Kombat or a Midway-esque cab, it'll be in that shape. So I'm not sure that I would necessarily buy that. I say I definitely hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I think we will see that shape, that Midway shape again. So I don't know that necessarily negates using the HS5 twice.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
fun things you could put in the Dynamo cab for sure. Like there's a lot of cool. I mean,
Oh,
that was like a standard throw them on there, let's go kind of cab. Like even like re-releasing
The
Final
rules and
Fight or
ghosts
something.
on there, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You could literally put
Yeah.
anything. Like it's really
Yeah.
cool. You could literally take the
That-
PCB.
Yeah, that cab in the arcades, that was like a go-to cab for conversion kits.
Yeah.
A lot.
19K Fox is gonna make his entire arcade Dynamo cab. Just wait.
It seems
Yeah,
like
he's already-
it.
Just wait,
yeah,
just
he's already
wait.
a
He's
long
getting
way there.
excited. Yeah, he's getting really excited. Speaking of arcades, guys, I wanted to show this on last week's show, and I didn't get a chance to because I got way too excited doing other stuff. So I'm going to show it this week, guys. We had an arcade tour sent to us. I'm going to show everybody. It looks pretty cool. I like the lighting in it. So let's bring this up real quick. We'll bring this up to here. I'll go ahead and play it so we can kind of just watch things in the background here, and you guys can comment as you see fit. But there's that Mortal Kombat Legacy. They could take that PCB, the Street Fighter Legacy, and put it in the Dynamo cab. That'd be dope. A very small,
Nice little setup. Yeah, nice.
very
little
small
setup,
room,
though.
but really cool. And he uses
Yeah.
the closet technique that I do. Just watch. Let's go. I love that.
I actually love how inventive a lot of people are. You know, when they want these things, they find a way to fit them somewhere.
I told you that's why we need 6 months, ahead of time to know what's going on with these things. So we can plan for it. As you can see in the closet there. I like that tubing.
I like the
right
lighting
there.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, man.
Look at all that room. And you just get rid of the couch. Got a lot
Yeah,
of
right.
Can line them up then. That's where it starts to take over. And it's like, okay, we're just gonna do a whole arcade room.
So I got to know where he got the hoverboard. I need one of those.
Is it the one wheel or is it the?
No, the actual Back to the
No,
Future
the,
hoverboard.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
yep.
Hasbro was selling those for a while, I think.
Yeah.
Got a Miss Pac-Man. I had that one. There's a deluxe one that's now out in that form factor. So it does look kind of cool, but I had the Class A 81. And there's your Marvel vs. Capcom 2, or aka X-Men 97 coming. I need to get some stools like that though in the corner can. I need like 2 of those good ones with like a thick, like the Arcade1up stools doesn't get it done for me. I just sold the X-Men one on Marketplace. I need to get one with like thicker padding on it. I think it was like Harbor Freight sold them or something. Gosh, you remember those Star Wars?
I will tell you, if there's one thing that actually pisses me off about that X-Men 97 is that the control deck on it uses that diamond shaped control deck that the original Marvel vs. Capcom 2 should have had on it. And I'm annoyed that it doesn't.
So what you want to do is you want to get it and then just put a MVC2 marquee in it and then just slam the cabs together and be like, okay, I'm good. I feel like that's a happy medium.
So that's
funny.
quite the VHS collection, but man, he needs more. He needs more horror. There's so much good horror on VHS that never came out anywhere else.
Look at the cassette tapes, all the old systems. Oh man,
nice. Nice.
Gotta love this. The CRTs. Yep.
See, that's what I gotta find myself a CRT at a decent
little
price.
Streets of Rage.
Oh, this is a really cool, just like gaming room. Come in and kick it. I don't know how effective you're gonna be playing Terminator, like with the door there, but maybe it's just one player. I don't know. Star Wars helmets. Those are really cool.
Well put together. Very.
It looks dope. Like I said, when I got the sent to me,
very neat and clean.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. It's very cool. I was like, man, okay, so how can we make this just all arcades? Let's take the door off there. Like, I'm already thinking in my head. I love
And
that
how
Star Wars
tall
too,
is he? It
Bill.
looks like he's dwarfing that T2.
Do you? No, that's the standard size, right?
No, I mean when he had the camera up. Look at that. Like
Oh, okay.
Oh, how
Yeah,
that totally
he's like
is where he's
9
got the
feet
hammer.
tall.
yeah.
Maybe he's holding the phone like this.
yeah, right.
He's got
Get
a giant
everything in it.
selfie stick and he's holding it way up there.
Bill, I wanna get the new Star Wars and sell my old one. Get that nice continuous artwork with the coin.
I
door on
like
there.
the new one. I have that one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
awesome.
like it too.
I'm waiting for Wayfair to drop the price on it a little bit, and then I'll pounce. I think over the holidays it was for $411, and I should have bought it then, but I was stupid.
Well, I got to tell you, that's another one that I think if you wait long enough, that will come out in at least a deluxe, if not XL.
Oh, that would be exciting then.
I think
I'd
they'll
be in on
redo
that.
Star Wars. I think they had so much success re-releasing it this last time. That was one that sold a ton, that new Star Wars. They'd be stupid not to do it one more time, at least in deluxe.
I think would you if you were to bet your mortgage on it, would it be a deluxe or an XL?
Deluxe. If I had a bet on it,
Then
I would bet deluxe before XL.
Yeah, deluxe then XL.
Then I'm waiting. I'm waiting, dude. That would be cool. Let me see who sent this in. I'm sorry, I had his.
Maybe for
Nick.
the new Rey Star Wars movie is when they'll release that new Star Wars with all.
Oh God, if they put that artwork on it, forget it. No.
Put a link in the chat to Nick's YouTube page that he sent that. He's got a couple of tours on there, and that's pretty much it. So shout outs to Nick for sending that into the corner, Kate. Thank you so much, man. That room was definitely sweet and clean, and you could tell you have a ton of fun in there. You can do a whole bunch of shit with that. But yeah, if that's the case, Bill, then I'm gonna hold out. Because I'm not a big fan of the risers, but
I didn't say they would definitely do it. I said they'd be dumb not to.
yeah, and you bet the mortgage on it, so it's kind of like they have to.
It sounded like they tried to get them.
So
yeah, sounded like they tried to convince Costco of the XL Star Wars.
There was something going on there. I don't know. Costco, if they said no to some stuff, it's like, well, for what? It's like one thing that's going to be on your shelves for like 3 months. Like,
maybe they're holding out for the Costco hot dog burger time edition.
Yes, dude. Yes, the pizza
Costco
and the
hot dog artwork on the side.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, holding out for something. Who the hell knows? But I think that wraps it up for us, guys. I mean, I think we've touched on pretty much everything. I mean, we could be here all night talking the inner workings of Arcade1up till the cows come home. But hopefully we see something cool. I mean, guys, like, final thoughts here. Were you guys in on X-Men 97? Are you guys gonna get it? Did you pre-order it already or no?
No,
I already have MVC2. That's not
same.
Okay.
I'm not replacing it with that artwork. It does. As big of a fan as I am of the original Marvel cartoon, and I'm being cautiously optimistic about the new one. Yeah. I don't want an arcade with that machine all over it. It doesn't do anything for me.
I wonder if there's any possibility of some kind of modding with that, because you got the form factor a little bit, whether it be the blue team molding, if that helps correspond to another game at all. If it's a quick kind of thing. Mrs. Cornercade's so happy. She's like, yes, it's time to go to bed. So you've been really watching the stream and you've not been saying anything? How dare thee?
That's funny.
So funny. At least give this video a like, Mrs. Cornercade. Help support the channel. Would it be funny if she just doesn't like any of the stuff? So yeah, I mean, are you guys okay? So no pre-order on the X-Men 97, but are you guys gonna pre-order the Shuffle Golf?
No.
I think that
no, it's I don't really have a decent enough space for it, and it's not really my thing. I think it's a neat concept. I think they'll do well with it. It's not for me.
You're waiting out for that 3/4 scale bubble hockey. I think that's what's gonna happen. We have a cool little sounder here for you guys. just when I thought we were done, Zero Redux comes in hot with a $5 super chat. Says, follow Bill and James. Both have been making great content. Kudos, Bill, on the 1UP app story, and JHE, the one about John D was fire. Can you fill us in on that, Bill? Yes, definitely. Go follow these guys. I know. Jason Little Alien has put links to both of you guys in the chat, guys. Go give James and Bill some love if you haven't already. But yeah, Bill, what's going on? What's the 1UP app story?
Oh, that was that. Yeah, that was the video I put out saying they haven't updated the app in months, and then the next day they
that.
updated the
Okay.
app.
Okay, and then they do.
And so
Hey,
he
Bill.
said no Star Wars XL tonight. So tomorrow we're getting Star
That's
Wars
right.
XL.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bill. Say something
I already
about Smash
listen. I already
TV.
promised Michael B I'd make a Robotron video. I already promised P-Dubs I'd make a Qbert video.
So
Guaranteed they
funny.
get announced the next day as soon as I make the video.
So funny.
But yeah, no, that was a funny thing too, because it's hysterical the comments you get. Like, one guy posted a thing on Facebook, was like, "Oh, see, this is why you don't make videos so quickly." I'm like, quickly? They haven't done anything for 3 months. I knew the next day
years.
they were going to release the damn thing. But you know what? It was I stand by the video, because there is still a lot of stuff that they've promised to update that they haven't. And the fact that I did that and then they updated the app, to me, it's just funny as hell. And I had a blast with it. I could have been so like embarrassed and upset about it. And the fact that that my YouTube friends in the community ran with it and had a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah,
made it great. Made it absolutely great.
Couldn't ask for anything better. I mean,
Yep.
Arcade1up loves to troll you guys and everybody. They're just silently watching, like, oh yeah, bet we had this saved, but we're just gonna go ahead and push this right now. There's so much more they could do with that app, though. Jesus, it's like,
oh yeah, I still think they should add voice chat through the app. If they're not going to do it on the cabs, do it on the app, kind of like Switch does with their app, so that people can shit talk when they're playing against each other.
100%. Like, that makes it fun, dude. Like, oh yeah, Mrs. Corner Gate, thank you for the shout out here. She said, I can never see it on restreams. She said, Danny, Jason gifted memberships. Let's go. Let me go over here. Okay, Jason Little Alien gifted 5 new Cornercade memberships. So we got Mrs.
Nice.
Cornercade. You are a member. It looks like she is a member now. So let's go. I don't know if you re-upped or if you're a new member, but what are you doing here? We got Carl O is a member. Chris C, Giovanni, Coldest Bryce. Let's go. Thank you so much, Jason, for supporting the channel. And we got some new Cornercade crew members, guys. Whenever we community tab.
I swear to God, I don't know when he sleeps, because he moderates everybody's channel.
I don't.
Best.
Yeah, all
got
at the
7
same
going right
time.
now.
How does he do that?
Yeah, because he's an
a beast.
AI. He's not a real person. I think
Wouldn't that be funny?
already
He's
decided
That
a
makes
bot.
sense. He's AI. Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, Jason did one of our big giveaways too. He gave away a New Wave Toys Missile Command on our 1,000th subscriber episode, and Emery's Arcade won it, and I was like super excited for him. But I'm like, Jason, I kind of wanted that. Like, I was like, that looks really cool. Like, and James, you bought all of those open box.
Yeah, I bought 9 of them, and
wow,
8 of the 9 are perfect, complete with the box, untouched. But
unbelievable.
The 9th one doesn't work, but they told me ahead of time. They said, "Hey, it doesn't work. You want a $30 coupon?" And I'm like, "Sure," and send it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got it to work, so it worked for a while, but then stopped working again.
Which one was that?
Ghouls and Ghost is the one that didn't work. And
I
was all set to take it apart and play with it, so I was gonna come down and shoot a video of dismantling it, and I turned it on and it fired right up, and I'm like, well, it works. And so I didn't shoot the video, and then I went back to play it again, and it wouldn't turn on again. So I was like, I don't know what's wrong with it.
I wonder if the battery won't hold a charge. You tried playing with it plugged in?
Yeah, I had it plugged in.
Okay.
So
my wife.
Yeah, it's just wonky, and I started taking it apart, and I couldn't figure out how to get the top part off, so I stopped anyway.
Yeah, the way these things are made, they're not exactly easy to disassemble.
Well, that'd be funny if they assembled like an Arcade1up, like a deluxe. You push it together, you tie the screws on.
I saw somebody take one of them apart, and they actually look like they're assembled like the real thing, like with the wood bars across the top, like just like the real, which is insanely that they would go through and make it that that
attention to
realistic on the
detail. That would
inside.
be
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, that's cool. I was gonna buy those because, like, I was gonna buy at least one or whatever because I know Mrs. Corner Cage. She thinks those are really cool. And Wild Child, a contributor to our show, actually emailed us some like keychain versions of arcades that you legit can play, and we were
Yeah.
both like blown away. So we didn't know. So I was like, what if we put those like in the Christmas tree? If you guys saw the channel,
Oh yeah.
holidays, we bought 2 arcades from Hallmark that went under the Christmas tree, but they don't play it all. They turn on like the marquee lights up, they make sound effects. But these games you can actually play. I'm like, she's like all in on those. So she said, "Oh my god, yes, I'm obsessed with it." So that's a whole new slew of
Yeah.
something else. But those new wave ones are badass.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
fun.
the
I'm still waiting for my Berserk to get shipped.
Oh, dude,
any
Arcade
day
1up
now, right?
needs to do a Berserk. That game actually is like something very simple to emulate, fun. Like, just do it. Do a Berserk, and then what was the other game? It was Frenzy.
Frenzy, yeah.
Frenzy, yeah. Make a cabinet of that, and let's move the drill.
Look,
Like, that would be fun.
Technically, they're owned by Atari now, and they have an Atari license. Those could easily show up on an Atari Deluxe Legacy cab if they really wanted to, start adding games again and not just stick with the same old 12 or 14.
Yeah, like,
or
why
whatever.
not? That would be I'd buy it in a heartbeat just because they had added those 2 additionally. Or even if you did a direct to consumer kind of thing where it was like, hey, do you guys want this? If we can hit 3,000, we'll go ahead and make it. Like, that's just, I don't know.
So let me ask you this. One of the things I like about New Wave Toys Berserk is the battle damaged Frenzy version.
Yeah.
Does look cool.
So what if Arcade1up releases the same cabs again, but in battle damaged versions?
The Survivor Series line.
Yeah.
Like, I
They're all
mentioned that.
scratched up with gum on them, and the
I mentioned that.
Some people won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, I mentioned that a while ago. It's like, hey, there's not going to be any claims now. There won't be any claims of cosmetic damage because it's all part of the spiel now. We got Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, coming in hot. Thank you so much, man. We'll hit a sounder for you, buddy. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, coming in hot with a $4.99 super chat saying, hey guys and chat, name one dream cab from Arcade1up that you want. Guys, since I'm already talking, I'll kick it off. I want a Sega Star Wars trilogy. There, I said it. Go ahead and take your shots in the chat, because I think there was a game that the chat was playing that if I would ever say it, they were going to go ahead and take a shot. So, Stupid Fat Hobbit, that one's on me. Totally want one. And if it doesn't come, guys, there might be some rumblings of a Stringer Films selling one that
you might have
just
to
let me have it, please. Don't go asking him. Please just let me have this. But that would be mine, guys. What about yours? And then we'll hit the chat. We'll see what they want.
For me, I've said probably since the beginning that I've started following them that I wanted them to do a deluxe or legacy or whatever they want to call it now of Konami titles. Again, I don't know where they stand with the Konami license. They obviously had it for a while, but give me a 12 or 14 game Konami deluxe with Contra as the marquee title.
Oh, you didn't want a Frogger as a marquee title?
Frogger's going to be on it. Frogger should be on it.
100%.
But I think if you do it with Contra as the title, people would lose their minds, and tons of people would buy it.
That's a good one. James, what about you?
So I have a whole bunch, but this is probably the one I want the most.
Let's go. Yeah.
I want a Nintendo Play Choice 10 from Arcade1up.
Okay.
Or any Nintendo would be great, but
Yeah.
specifically an NES Play Choice 10 as an Arcade1up, I think would be cool.
Now that's definitely talking fantasy.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's not going to let the license go.
No.
It would still be awesome.
No. I'll tell you, if they ever did like a Donkey Kong cab with a bunch of Nintendo games on it, I'd be all in.
I
think everyone would be all in. Yeah.
Would.
You think maybe retailers would be like, I never even heard of that. Do you get
right?
Pac-Man?
No, those they'd get retailers to buy in droves. As a matter of fact, that's a title that would get re-released every single year because retailers would eat that up.
It would explode. It would totally explode this market. I mean, you'd get so many more consumers into home arcade.
Yeah.
if they dropped a few of those big classic Nintendos like Punch Out and Donkey Kong, and
Yeah.
it would be insane.
Mhm.
I'm hearing a lot of good ones in the chat. Daytona USA XL. I mean, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? If you had like 4 of those linked up, that'd be ridiculous.
That should
NHL
totally
Open
be the
Ice.
next racer they do. If they're gonna do another racer, they
They
should
just
absolutely do
the
Daytona.
licensing, man, like
I
all
know.
the racers, all the sponsors on the cars, it would be tough.
Yeah.
It has to be super generic for them to release it, and then
Yeah.
I was
you'll
and
Same
have
thing
people,
all
with
the
like, it's the same
complaints
thing
that
they've
it's
said
not
about pole
arcade
position.
authentic.
Right.
yeah,
It's the
that's
same thing
that's
they
the
said about
concession.
pole position.
That's the
Yeah.
concessions that I would take, and I saw like gameplay because everybody's talking about pole position, pole position. I've never played it. I'm like, what is pole position? I'm like, this game is boring. But like, I
It's
saw it.
just
I
the
was just watching it.
classic, right?
It's
It's
just
just
like,
classic.
I'm like, man, I don't
Yeah.
know, but like, think about it. Super Sprint is a classic, and I'm like,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
this game is dope. Like, I love it.
And they could do
Realistic.
super sprint and off-road, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, My Arcade did pole position, so they can technically do pole position if My
Mhm.
Arcade can crank it out there.
Yeah.
And I
But
would
yeah,
probably still
I
buy
haven't
it just
seen
because
it
it's a new
though. Have
title.
you? I haven't seen it though. Did they actually have to change the ROM to get rid of like the Marlboro ads and all that
I haven't
stuff?
paid close enough attention, but they had like if you look back at some of the CES, I think some people had gameplay footage of it.
Yeah, they
I
didn't
have to go
have
back and
like
check it out.
Yeah, they didn't have like the Marlboro ads or anything like that. I forgot what was there. I think it was just maybe blank or nothing, nothing.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But
I'll
that's
bet they had to change it to get it out there. But
Yeah.
some people would be okay with that.
yeah, like again, like who cares? Like it's not if you want an arcade authentic thing, go buy the real arcade. Like nobody's stopping you. Like I take the concessions and let's have fun. Like if you want the real stuff, then go get a real arcade. They're on Facebook Marketplace all over the place.
Yeah, I still
Um,
don't get the hate for Blitz. I love Blitz. And
I'll
it's
never get that. I
yeah,
never understand like no late hits. I was like, okay, as soon as the play ends, I'm worrying about the next play. I don't care about elbow and dropping my opponent. Maybe I'm not an arcade
yeah.
enthusiast and whatever, but I'm already kind of trying to devise my own. Okay, am I running? Am I passing the next play? Like what's going on? Like I don't even care about that.
That
Like
was blown out of proportion. I actually jumped into the original Blitz to play it, like to see like how dramatically different it was without because it's been years since I played the real one.
Mm.
And if you play like the first one, right? That you only have like 2 seconds to do a late hit.
Right.
You're really doing them anyway. So
it's not like
really
it's not
doesn't
like
lose anything.
people say it's part of the game, but it's not like it's part of the game. Like it's just
Yeah,
an
it's
extra little
No, it's
thing.
just
a-
some. It's
after
It's
action
just something
stuff.
fun to do at the end.
Yeah.
It's just
And
fun
I
to watch them all kind of like pile on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
I appreciate Arcade when I'm coming out with the newer version of it because it's as close as 1080 as possible. There's a lot more detail in it. Like the old one, it was like I was like, wow, like kind of hurts my eyes a little bit. Like playing this new one, it's just a little bit more graphically enhanced, and that's what I like about Arcade1up, like bringing these said products into like 2024. If I want to get that taste of nostalgia, I'll go down to my local arcade and I'll play Street Fighter behind me on a
Yeah.
CRT with the duller colors, like
Mhm.
the real nice controls. I'll do that. But then when I'm at home, I want things to be like I want an Arcade1up in my home. I don't want necessarily a real arcade in my home. I'll go play those. I can't go down to the store and play my Arcade1ups. There's no Arcade1up, Garcade. That's what I can have in my store. So that's the at home product, at least for me. And
I've had
probably
plenty
for
of real
others.
ones in the past, and quite frankly, they're just a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so I quit doing. They're way too heavy to move them around. Forget about taking them up and down stairs with without hiring a crew to come do it or get all your friends over.
Yeah,
It was a constant pain in the ass, and I was like, I'm done with it years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, I saw there was a video that I saw randomly. I don't know who it was from, but they had a golden tee, but it had all the golden tees on it, and it was like Pat Summerall was the announcer, and it was like it was a real arcade, but it was like 3/4 scale. Have you guys ever seen that before?
And it wasn't a pedestal one; it was a
That's what
different
I was
one?
thinking. It was
It was a
pedestal
real
one.
No, it was an arcade, like an actual arcade. It was had all the real controls and everything. It was just like an arcade. It was like a mini version. Like the
Hmm.
company made a mini version of this. I'm like, dude, if they had a mini versions and all of that, but like the real ROMs and real arcade, like, dude, I would be totally in on that. That would kill the one ups for me.
I think
That
I
would
know
be
the thing you're
dope.
talking about. I think I've actually seen it like out in the wild, and it's
They
not a.
like had
It's another. I don't remember who made it though. I think it was a one-off by some company that kind of like an Arcade1up that made a three-quarter or a smaller scale version. It's got the iconic shape with the like three-quarter golf
Yeah.
ball
Yeah, it
on
was,
the side,
and
but
it
it's
had
got
all
like
the,
a
like,
but it's
flags on it.
it's really a multicade. It's got a
Oh,
bunch of
this one
different
just had
stuff
the
in it.
golden tees on it. It had all the golden tees ever made on it. It was really cool. I was like, man, that's cool. Like, and like having Pat Summerall announcing with some, I forgot the other guy, but it just sounded cool. I was like, man, I would totally put this one in my home. But Jesus, we could talk arcades for every. I
Reminds me of
really
old Maddens, Pat Summerall and
Yeah,
John
that's what it
Madden.
sounded like. It's like, and he's lining up now on the 54th yard line. Like it literally reminded me of that. I'm like, man, I want to put this in my arcade. And it was for sale too. Like this guy like repurposed it and everything. All he had to do was add new T molding. He took the plastic deck protector off of it and he said it looks a lot cleaner this way. And they were just repurposing. I'm like, man, I should just message him and be like, dude, how much is that and where are you? Kind of thing. Like that was, it looks like a repurposed like channel that they do. It just popped up on my feed randomly. I thought it share with you guys. But dude, I appreciate everybody coming out, man. We had a bunch of super chats at the end that kind of extended our show. Had so much fun. James hates everything. Bill, as always. Last word, final thought, anything, guys? You got anything for us?
Let's go, baby.
I really hope everybody could hear that sound effect just fine. I've been trying to get sound effects to work and I just never could get it done. Me and my wife spent 5 hours trying to do it and we just couldn't do it. So it's one thing I always wish I could do. But James, I appreciate the sound effects. Guys, thank you as always. Please give this video a like on the way out, guys. And as always, my guys, we will see you in the next one. Peace.